What up, everybody? It is Dizzy Sports Talk here, and today I'm coming at you another video. Today I'm talking about the Detroit Pistons. I'm breaking down their roster, their starting lineup for next year, their draft picks from this year, and just talking about their potential in this team, what this team can do the next few years. It's a really exciting, fun team. If you're a fan of the Detroit Pistons, there's a lot to be excited about, and I'm going to break it down right here for you. So we're going to start it off with the first overall pick, Cade Cunningham, the man. He averaged 26 and 3 as a freshman at Oklahoma State. The obvious number one pick. And there's some people who wanted Jalen Green, and I'm just going to tell you that it's not even close. Like, the difference between Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green seems to play for himself. He's very athletic, good scorer, but he's not like a guy who's making everyone around him better. Cade Cunningham plays for his team. He tries to make everyone around him better. He includes everyone. He just does everything. He doesn't do one thing or a couple things really well. He just does everything really well, and he just wants to win. And there's a reason why Jalen Green is getting compared to Zach LaVine and Bradley Beal, while Cade Cunningham's getting compared to Luca Doncic, LeBron James, Grant Hill, like those guys who make their teams better and win. Bradley Beal and Zach LaVine have not been those guys, and Jalen Green would probably be a good player, I think. Just not a guy you build your team around, but a guy you can add to a winning team. I think I can see Cade Cunningham his rookie year averaging around like 16, 17, 5 and 6, just really similar to what he averaged at Oklahoma State. And I just expect him to get better from there. I mean, being a future superstar guard similar to Luka Doncic stats, he could be almost averaging a triple-double, probably getting around 25, 8, and 9 a game. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets that. Let's move on to Killian Hayes. Let's talk about him. He averaged 7 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds as a rookie. He's only 20 years old, or he's 19, but he was injured a lot of last year, and a lot of people thought he's a bust, but he really showed a lot of flashes late last year. And the question is now, how will he play alongside Cade Cunningham, who are both they both need the ball to be good apparently. And Cade Cunningham's going to have the ball the majority of the time. That's no secret. So it's going to be how Killian can adjust to that. Will he be a bench player, like six-man guy? Will he be coming off the bench? Will he be able to be more of a shooting guard and be able to play off the ball and get open and score and shoot? Or will he be able to work alongside Cade Cunningham and they can be a great duo and go back and forth, kind of like how James Harden and Russell Westbrook did in Houston, except hopefully they can actually win a championship. But yeah, he's a solid playmaker, really good passer. He's showed decent flashes of being a good inside scorer. He had a good floater that he added to his game, and he's a decent finisher. And I really like Killian, and I want him to work. I want him to work with this and be able to adjust. But we'll just have to see. If he's not able to, then he'll most likely be traded. But I mean, that won't be the end of the world because we have a lot of depth. We have a lot of young guards. I mean, this team has so many options of what they can do. But I see him putting it together, and he's a guy I can see averaging like 15 to 16, 17 points, like in the high teens, getting 8 to 10 assists a game. He's a really good passer, and he can rebound too. He's 6'5". He can get around 5, 6 rebounds a game and play solid defense. So I think he could be a really like Rajon Rondo type player, but maybe even better scoring. I mean, he looked really bad his first few games, but after he got injured, he really kind of showed some flashes of being a good scorer. Moving on to Saddiq Bey. I think he's a guy who will absolutely thrive next to Cade Cunningham. I think he's the perfect player. He's a guy that Dallas Mavericks really wish they could have had to go alongside Luka. That's exactly the kind of guy they're looking for. He's a young player, 21 years old. He's a 3-and-D player, but he can score from anywhere on the floor. Other than Jeremy Grant, he was our best scorer last year, and he just looked like a veteran at some points. He broke a record for the most threes in a season for a rookie, beating Steph Curry, which is that's crazy. I mean, that shows how much potential he could have, especially from 3. I mean, he's 6'7" as well, so he can play the guard and small forward. But he averaged 12, 4, and 4, so he can pass a little bit. He can get rebounds. He does everything pretty well, and he's just a good scorer. So he has a all-star caliber player like Donovan Mitchell, kind of Dwayne Wade kind of thing. Maybe not as good as Dwayne Wade. That was probably too far, but he could average 25 plus, and he can pass, he can rebound. So getting 5, 6 of those kind of stats. I mean, he's a really good player, and he can catch and shoot. He's perfect to go along Cade Cunningham. He can catch and shoot. He can pass the ball. He can score from anywhere on the floor. He can get open. So that's just a perfect fit for him. And this Pistons backcourt is going to be scary. They're 19, 20, 21 years old, and they're all just super high potential. Moving on to Jeremy Grant. I think the sign of Jeremy Grant was actually great. We have a super young team full of just rookies, second and third year players, and we bring in a guy like him. He's 27 years old, and he has the best year of his career here. He's the first option, and he dropped 22 points, got some rebounds, and he didn't have the greatest efficiency, shooting only 43%, but now he won't have to be the main guy. I mean, we have Cade Cunningham coming in. He can already take away 15 to 18 points a game, most likely. Saddiq Bey, who's going to improve from his 12 points, most likely. He could be even getting close to 20 points a game this year. He won't have to be that guy. Isaiah Stewart, he's going to improve as well. Killian Hayes, I mean, every one of our guys is going to improve. So he can work on it. Like, if last year wasn't a fluke, he can work on his game, get better, but also not be the main guy, and he can let the other guys shine. And he can still be averaging around 20 points a game, just on a lot better efficiency, which is really exciting for us. But he's a good guy. He seems like he wants to improve. Next up is Isaiah Stewart, Beef Stew. He might be the most important player out of those rookies, out of Killian Hayes, Saddiq Bey. He might be the most important because he's our center, and he's 6'8". And like most people won't think 6'8" centers are not going to do well in this league, but we've proved that with Ben Wallace. He dominated on defense and on the boards. And now Isaiah Stewart also has an offensive game to him. He's also a ferocious defender and rebounder. He can shoot the ball now. He was shooting 33%, and he added that throughout the year, and he got better, and he should be looking better, or get it better throughout the year. But yeah, he showed so much positives. He shot 8 points, 7 rebounds in 21 minutes. He had 8 double-doubles on the year. He's only 20 years old. I mean, the dude is a beast. He's really exciting to watch for next year. But yeah, going back to Ben Wallace, he was great on defense, great on the boards, but he could not score. We won a championship with him. Imagine what we can do with Stewart with all these other talents around him. He can actually score. He's probably a better offensive player than Ben Wallace ever was. But he's looking to make a big jump this year. I think he could be getting around double-double with more minutes. I mean, he only played 21 minutes and was very close to it. And his per 36, he was already there. So yeah, he's a high motor, big physical player, and I can see him averaging around 16 to 19 points a game and getting double-digit rebounds around the peak of his career. I mean, he could. I don't know if he'll be able to be a 20-point scorer, especially on the Pistons with how much young talent we have. But he's going to be a really big contributor, and he's going to be one of the main reasons we win a championship in the next 3 years. And he just plays a lot bigger than his height, and he'll really improve on the finesse part of his game. So it'll really complement his game. Now, you probably think I'm crazy or a homer, just being biased, predicting all these super high potentials for all these players. But I'm honestly being realistic. This is my honest thoughts, and this is how a lot of people feel about them too. Troy Weaver just drafted some fantastic young players who all play for heart. They all play tough. They want to win together. They have a high work ethic and motivation to get better. And that's all we needed was the face, and we needed that dude, and that dude is Cade Cunningham, and he's going to lead us to a championship. I mean, all these guys could very well average double digits even next year. And 2 to 3 guys could be averaging 20 points a game in a few years. I mean, you have teams who have one guy, maybe 2 to 3 for some, that they've centered their offense around. But for this team, it's so much different than any of the NBA. You have all these guys who can contribute on the offensive end a lot, and they all play defense, and they have a lot of young depth that can add to that as well. And this Detroit team, I mean, you have 2 all rookies who will get better. Outside of Grant, they were our best players, Isaiah Stewart and Saddiq Bey, and then Killian Hayes, who can be a Rajon Rondo type player, just be a good leader and passer and play defense. And then you have Cade Cunningham, who could be this superstar guard. And then you got young talent on the bench, who I'll get to in a minute. But this is looking dangerously similar to that 2004 championship team. Just guys who play together, they play tough, they have a culture here. This is what Detroit's about, and we're doing it again, and I think we're doing it with a better team. And some of the players I want to mention on the bench, I'll start with Hamidou Diallo. Not many people know about him, but he can be huge for us. We traded Mikhailu for him. I'm not gonna pronounce his first name, but that dude all he could do was shoot threes. He's averaging 10 points a game. I mean, that's all he's gonna do for the rest of his career. Somehow we got Hamidou Diallo out of him, who averaged 11 points and 5 rebounds in 22 minutes for us. He's only 22 years old, and the dude, I mean, he can be really special. He's really athletic. He's 6'5". He can play the shooting guard and the small forward. He plays defense, and I think it was a great trade by Troy Weaver. And he could be our sixth man this year. Or if Killian Hayes doesn't work out or he's not able to adjust quickly with Cade Cunningham, he can be our two guard. And I mean, he would fit right in. So that's a great player to have for us. Next up is Seiku Damboya. He's entering his third year. We drafted him. He's only 21 years old, but this will really show if he's going to be a part of our future, I think, this year. His sophomore season was worse than his rookie season, which is not good because his rookie season was not good either. Grabbing like 5 points, like 3 rebounds. He just had too many did not plays. I mean, I don't know what was going on with him, but he's 6'8", 230. He's athletic, and he seems like a good guy, and he wants to get better. But I just have a hard time thinking he can't be like a solid defender, like a bench inside scorer, a guy coming off the bench and be solid for us. I don't see how he can't do that. I mean, when we drafted him, I wasn't very high on him. I didn't think he had a very high offensive potential. I mean, he didn't really score that much in France. I didn't really like the pick, but I think he can be a solid NBA player, and hopefully we can keep him around. We'll just have to see what he does this year. Next up, let's go to Saban Lee. He's our fourth rookie that we had last year. Not many people know about him, but he was very solid. He had 6 points, 4 assists, and 2 rebounds in only 16 minutes. He had 0.7 steals as well. But he's 21 years old. He shot 47% from the three. So, I mean, he's only 6'2", 180, but when our other guards are 6'8", 220, and 6'5", 200, Killian Hayes and Cade Cunningham, I mean, that's a perfect guy to have coming off the bench who can get you some buckets, who can pass the ball. I mean, Saban Lee is perfect for us, and it just shows how much young talent we have on this team to go around. We can be playing like 11 guys next year. I would also like to mention Cervidis. He only played 20 games last year and played 6 minutes, but he can be a guy who can come out of nowhere. I'd get to know that name. He can be breaking out in the next year or two. But he's a really good scorer, 6'8", 200 pounds out of Lithuania. But yeah, he's only 21 years old, and he just showed some flashes of like step back threes, crazy crossovers. He's a lefty, strong finisher, but he just looks like he can be a really, really good scorer in a few years. So I would like to keep an eye on him. I'd also like to mention the draft picks from this year, the other ones outside of Cade Cunningham. These are the main ones, just Isaiah Livers. I'm super hype about that pick. I'm a Michigan fan, but also he's a guy who's been in Michigan. He grew up here. He knows the college year, and he wants to be a part of it, and he can play right away. I think that was just an absolute perfect pick for us. And then Luca Garza, the other college player of the year. We had Cade Cunningham and Luca Garza. I mean, I think he was to steal the draft. People were writing him off saying he wasn't going to get drafted, saying he wasn't going to be a bust at the NBA level. But he showed up to the combine 20 pounds lighter, and he kind of changed his game, being more of a stretch five. And the Pistons really liked that, and they took a shot at him. And I think he can be a really solid big man for us, coming behind Isaiah Stewart. And he's a big guy. He's 6'11", like 240. So, I mean, I'm really excited for him. And this is just my honest opinion on the Detroit Pistons. I'm trying to take all the bias out. I know it's like I have really high hopes for these guys, but, I mean, that's just what I see, and that's what a lot of people see. I mean, how can you not get excited about this team? I'd expect an NBA championship within like 3-4 years. I would not be surprised, but hoping for a playoff spot next year, I don't know about that, but in 2 years, I think it's going to happen. But that's all I got for you today, guys. I'll just come out to you with some more content. This is DZ Sports Talk. DZ out here. Peace.